What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Laboratory Podcast. Today we're going to be chatting about the art of storytelling and viewer retention. We're going to go through a bit of information that we want to share on how to edit videos better and how to make stories more compelling. So we actually spoke to our team and asked them to write us a couple questions that they thought might be interesting for us to discuss. We're going to go through them. We got 5 questions, and then we'll just discuss those topics. Cool. So the first question that we're going to go through is, how important is video editing when telling a story? And personally, I think video editing plays a massive role in telling a story. Obviously, the scripting, the stuff that you actually say in the video, and the visuals that you record when filming are important too. But how you put that story together, the pacing and all of that, I think that's super important, you know?
Absolutely. The thing is, because you can extend a shot or anything when you're doing filming, and it could actually maybe convey a completely different message altogether.
Yeah, you can change the emotion, you know, depending on how you portray that
absolutely. You don't want to have a fast-paced video where you're actually maybe telling a sad story.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Otherwise, it doesn't convey or come across as that intended emotion that you're trying to convey.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, especially when it comes to like comedy, as an example, timing is one of the most important things. Like stand-up comedians often will talk about timing in comedy, and I think that when it comes to editing, everything that we're working with is timing. You know, the system we edit on, the actual place where the footage sits is called a timeline, because we just moving images across time. So if someone tells a joke, you can make that joke so much funnier if you allow maybe a pause and cut to someone's reaction before the punchline lands or something like that. You know, you can make things land a lot more. You know, I think we often see when we're watching, especially like documentaries and stuff, when they're telling stories, filming that story of that person speaking probably wasn't that emotional, but once they've edited it and dragged it out and then cut in those clips of the person like holding their eyes and wiping tears away and stuff, it makes it so much more impactful.
And you start believing that as well, you know?
Yeah. And it's not to say that the story's fake and that it isn't that emotional. It's just bringing out the true emotion that was felt in that room.
And intended for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, to recap that, I think editing is extremely important when it comes to story. It's not everything, but it is a big piece. So the second question that we have is, what is it that makes a video compelling, that makes people want to watch it, whether it's a TV ad, YouTube video, or even a short film?
Sure, that's quite a deep question, because I mean that could be answered in many shapes and forms.
A lot of elements.
It literally all depends on like your target audience. You can't be showing a child's program if you're going to a corporate event to show something for extended future work. To make it compelling, you have to really understand the audience that you're trying to captivate and trying to grab. First of all, if it is for maybe a kids show, maybe you want to like compel more toys, more action shots for kids. It can be like, oh wow, I want that, you know, 100%. I want my mom to buy that for me. Or if it's something maybe a bit bigger, maybe it's tech, maybe he's showing off tech, maybe Mark Brown, you know, he shows a lot more like compelling the software design of the aspects.
Yeah, you know? The B-roll, like details of the designs and things like that. So knowing your audience is what you're saying is the most important. I would completely agree with that, because, you know, like I mentioned, a TV ad versus a YouTube video. YouTube videos are definitely more geared towards entertainment. So you're going to edit that and create the pacing and stuff as if it's something that people are going to watch for an extended period of time and you want to keep them engaged. Whereas if it's a TV commercial, you just want to give them a little bit of value and information as fast as possible, because people don't really care about it.
Because you only have 30 seconds or 1 minute, you know?
Exactly. Whereas a short film, you can take more time to dive deeper into the details, to build emotion and character backstories and stuff like that. It's like taking people on more of a journey than a TV ad.
Yeah, no, well said.
Question 3 is, how do you decide which shots to use in a video, especially when there are many good takes of one specific section? I really like this question, because this is something that we deal with often, especially when you get to a certain point. Like in our team, when we go out and shoot something, we very often, because of the level of pre-production and planning that we put into it, we hit the nail on the head when it comes to filming. So a lot of the times our videography team comes back with a ton of amazing shots, and the part of the video might be like 1 or 2 seconds long, but we have like 30 or 40 seconds of footage that would all look great in that.
And now to try and choose which specific one you want in that time frame.
So what is the process that you go through?
Well, luckily we got quite a cool system going. I think depending if Kimon or I edit certain videos, What we like to do is we like to give revisions. So is it impacting the script that we originally came out to do, or is it kind of overextending the shot that you, or is it just cool because it really looks sick, or is it
actually adding to the video and the final
adding
result?
to that story? Is it adding to what the client actually intended us for? It's not just 100%. A really dope looking shot that we just kind of objectively saying it's amazing
for the brief.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way of doing it. I think something that I do, at least myself, that I think is quite important is to spend a lot of time really understanding the brief and what the client wants. And then when you get to the editing process and you need to cut those clips, it's almost like you go on feeling, like instinct. You're like, this feels like the right clip to put in this. Sometimes you'll have a script and you like see that they say a certain line and a piece of footage just pops up into your mind because you're like, I want this specific emotion. And sometimes
absolutely.
For me, it even comes down to like micro emotions in people's facial expressions. So in that one particular shot that I used, the person might have looked slightly down near the end of the clip, and that to me just signifies a bit more sadness or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think of those things. I think for you and I, it's just something that's come from experience where that clip just feels right.
Feels correct.
You know, we're not trying to see, okay, this person, smiled slightly more in that clip, and this is a happier version. So it's not like that. It's just I like this clip. It feels good. Through my experience, I think this is the one that we'll
absolutely
use.
Yeah.
And then as you mentioned at the beginning, obviously revisions. Like we have a lot of different people that we send the video to that watch it and quality check it, and they might say to us, I think you missed the mark on this particular one. Can we change this clip for something else? Which does happen quite often.
And that's perfectly fine. I mean, you're never going to hit the nail in the coffin exactly like on the target.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time, but. And also, I feel like also if you have a client, you kind of understand, and if you work with that client for over a period of time, you kind of understand their lingo, their language, their target audience. So it almost aids you to like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do now for this type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like not to go off too much on a tangent, but working with a client over an extended period of time definitely allows you to do better work for them. The first couple of projects is always a bit of teething issues, but if you stick with a specific supplier for a year or two and you start learning their language, it really shows in the final product.
And you pick it up. I mean, when I first started here, I also didn't have a specific like understanding of what your client needed, and I was doing the project for you. And you're telling me, no, this client wants this type of like aspect or this, and then you would help me. Now I actually understand, okay, this is their language. This is how I need to edit their stuff for them.
Yeah, and the way that relates to picking clips is now you in the mind of the client and you're selecting the clips that best represent what they would want and not necessarily your own taste.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it is, it's for the clients. We're not creating art for ourselves. Okay, so the third question is also quite a nice one. What role does music and sound design play in the final product?
Oh, geez. This is probably one of the most like detrimental aspects to editing. Because, I mean, you don't want to have like a sad, moppy feel to your editing. You're playing like rock star music and,
Exactly.
It kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, it almost underpins the whole emotion of whatever the video is.
Amen, absolutely.
Yeah. I know I did an edit once for a non-profit called Animals Africa where the goal was to sort of invoke some emotion and sadness and empathy towards the animals at some of these shelters that we were filming. And after I edited the video, it was incredibly sad, like heart-wrenching, to the point where I actually went and took some of the clips out and changed it because it was a bit too hectic.
Wow.
And I remember people saying to me when I played it for them, they were like really moved by it, and they said that this is so devastating. And I had to say to them, it's actually not that bad at this place. A lot of the footage that I took, the animals are happy, they're doing a great job, they're rehabilitating all these animals.
Just comes across as extremely
they've
sad.
got kids coming over on the weekends to help walk the dogs and play dates, and I could have taken the exact same footage that I shot, that I made this heart-wrenching video, and edited a happy, fun video out of it if I literally just changed the music and some of the sound effects and stuff. So it shows you how impactful the sound design and music is.
And also, you're also trying to want to go on beat as well. I mean, depending on what type of film you're trying to edit, it could be like even like a concert or something. You also want to try and edit on a beat as well. Because sometimes if you edit off a beat, people pick that up subconsciously and be like, no, something's not right. It doesn't feel like it's in sync. Or
100%. You can really drive a lot of interest and engagement in the video just by sort of syncing things with the music.
Absolutely,
Yeah, so I definitely think it's super important. And on the sound effects side of things as well, it's also also a great way to elevate a video. You know, like if you have a coffee machine to have the bean grinding sounds in it, or if you cut to a shot of someone walking across the street to have some traffic noises. And
absolutely.
You know, even we do a lot of, obviously because we're based in South Africa, we do a lot of content based in a South African context. And I often find that when someone's walking in a street, or I have shots of something like that, if I put like noises of a taxi hooter in the background or something, it makes the video feel so much more like nostalgic and sort of, you know,
real
local.
and realism.
Yeah, it gives it that, you know, a much stronger feeling. Cool. And then just to close it off, our final question is, how do you determine how long a video will take to edit? And do we feel that we're good at estimating editing times?
This one's quite tricky, because I think this question kind of goes down with like the experience that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, the more video editing you do,
different.
the more comfortable you feel in your own skills.
Yeah.
So maybe you are better at editing car videos, you know, and maybe if I go do a car video, it will take me maybe 6 hours because I'm not really good at that, and maybe it takes you 2 hours because you know exactly the ins and outs, you know what people need to see when doing a car commercial. So,
or in the same breath, working for certain clients as well, not necessarily the different types of videos. But if I'm doing an edit for a specific client that I've been working with for a long time, even though we might have the same level of experience in editing, I could knock that out way faster just because I understand them.
You understand them, yeah.
Yeah, I think another important thing is how well the pre-production was done and how clean the footage is that was captured before the editing starts. Because like some of the recent projects we've done where we put a lot of effort into the filming side of things, the edits came together so quickly because everything was clean and all the shots
was smooth
looked great.
up until then, yeah.
Yeah, but as soon as there's like some issues with maybe audio, or we need to fill some things in with B-roll, or even create animations to fit over certain spaces where the project, where the filming part of it didn't go as well as we'd hoped.
And that will hinder the process.
Yeah, then that makes it take much longer. I think definitely when I started, I was absolutely terrible at estimating edits. I'd be like, yeah, I'll have this done in 2 hours. And 4 days later, I'm still working on this project.
That's usually how it goes down.
Yeah, and as I've been working over the past couple of years, I do think I'm getting closer and closer to finishing it, to the point where some of the projects I do now, I almost feel like I'll have this done in 5 hours, and 4 hours later I'm finished with the project and I can deliver it, which is
used to it by then.
You know, where you want to be. But you still get some of those tricky projects that just catch you off guard. You think it's going to be simple till you dig your teeth into it. Cool. Well, yeah, hopefully some of these tips and tricks, some of these insights will help you guys be better video editors. If anything that we've said resonates with you, let us know in the comments. If you think there's anything that we could learn from you guys, please share that with us as well. Like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.